It's Women's History Month. Shout out to our ladies, because you said you were for the ladies.
I'm all for the ladies.
Yes.
Well, all for yeah. I love women. Man, I'm losing this one. Let me just stop. I'm gonna stop that.
You wanna?
I love you, babe. I'm off to a bad start with
Yeah.
that one.
Yo, bro, he got uncomfortable. He started moving his shoulders.
Make sure y'all go like, subscribe. You know what I'm saying?
The double S, the subscribe.
Like, subscribe, comment, all that good stuff was everywhere. The What's Bruin Show. Make sure y'all do that.
Oh, man.
Gotta address the housekeeping.
Yeah, you know that's my boy's favorite line. Every time he gonna get that on. Y'all better like, share, subscribe, because this man told y'all to.
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie. I wanted to start with this. I thought this was a little funny.
Talk to me.
Let me see. You know what? Now let's switch gears. All right, so the new CBA is set to go into effect for the 2026 season, and Angel Reese had some remarks on what she believes will happen if the women players do not get paid.
Yeah, it's coming up. I can't wait.
Girl, y'all benefited from everything. Y'all youngins benefited from NIL.
What does that mean? We deserve more. Everybody.
I agree.
Everybody.
I agree with that.
But we got to face the consequences.
Y'all got to deal with something.
But the women coming in, not this year, but next year.
Yeah.
The ones coming in this year will still be on the rookie contract again.
Mm-hmm.
The ones that the year after, they going to get more. They probably going to be making more than us.
Oh, they are.
I'm hurt.
They are. Like, yeah. I've been in the meetings. They are.
I need to get in the meetings.
You need to come to the
I
meetings.
got to get in the meetings because I'm hearing like, yeah, they don't give us, if y'all don't give us what we want, like, we sitting out.
That's a possibility, for real.
Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Nas, what are your thoughts on Angel Reese and many others that have to say about wanting to be paid and if the lockout tends to happen?
Yeah, so I think it's a 50-50 shot that we do go into a lockout. I actually had a conversation with one of my W clients, and I let her know, we were planning for some stuff, and I let her know that one of the risks that we need to associate, with this upcoming season is that there's a possibility of a lockout. So we need to
plan accordingly.
We need to do some good cash flow planning to make sure that if there is a lockout, that it does not affect you from a financial perspective, right? And so when we actually look at the economics of like what Angel was talking about, there's not another advisor out there that's going to advocate for women to be paid, right? Not another one.
It's just you?
It's just me.
Okay.
All right.
I like that.
And what I'm going to say to that is, I think when we look at the economics of all of this, I want to break something down to
give me the inside scoop, please.
Right. So when we think about the ownership structure of the WNBA, right, of like who owns what percentage of the WNBA, because you got to know that the WNBA has been subsidized from a $10 million annual injection of capital from the NBA. The NBA gives the WNBA $10 million every year is what they've been giving.
That's it?
Yep. And so before we get into that part, let me kind of talk about the ownership structure of the W, right?
Okay.
The NBA owns 42% of the WNBA.
Okay.
Right? So we already eliminate 42%.
We're going to set this up. We're going to do a nice little graph for the people when we set this up too.
So they own 42% of the W.
Right.
The owners, the WNBA team owners, own the next 42% of the W.
Okay.
And then that remaining 16%, back in February of 2022, the W raised $75 million in capital, right, which they sold that remaining 16% in its equity to independent investors, right, which valued the league at around $475 million at that point. Right? This was in 2022. We were saying that the valuation of the W was about $475 million. And this is, we're kind of fast forward 3 years from that, right? What we have to understand is there's no way, right? There's no way for a 50-50 rev share split economically. It ain't gonna make sense, right? Because you think about, most people look at how the other leagues do it. The NFL, the NBA, the NHL, MLB. They're looking at, how their revenue split is, and unfortunately, the economics of those leagues in terms of who owns what percentage of the league looks much different than how the W has it structured. So there's a lot of things that the W, I think a lot of players are just misinformed. And so when I see these players like Angel speak out on this, yes, I am the #1 champion for women getting what they are owed. And do I think there is going to be a substantial increase in salaries? There is, right?
Yeah.
The scale is going to go up. It has to, right? It has to. They signed a $2.2 billion TV deal for over 11 years, which
Correct.
comes out to about $200 million a year that the WNBA will receive from the TV deal.
Right in back of the pretzel bell, right? I'm sorry. Nah.
But
Right in back of the pretzel bag.
But what's to come is that, people are going to, like, players that are misinformed are going to continue to speak out, thinking that there's a big payday coming, and we have to, like, level expectations, right? And figuring out what their value is. I'm going to also share some of the other things that have come up in the collective bargaining agreement, and then I'll sort of like kind of digress a little bit, but. Currently, right, if you think about what they're fighting for in this new collective bargaining agreement, the first one is increased salaries, right? So the current WNBA minimum is about $64,154, right, with the maximum of about $241,000. And this is, I'm talking yearly, right?
Okay.
They're fighting for increased salaries. They're fighting for enhanced working, conditions, travel and accommodations, which we saw last year. They came out and made some changes to the them flying commercial, right? They're now flying as a team on a private flight. You think about their health and wellness. They're fighting for different, health benefits, long-term benefits like retirement plans, maternity and family support. You had my girl she's from Bruin, PA. She went to St. Joe's. She was at Maryland first. She transferred. Natasha Cloud, she was on the pivot even talking about how, that they want their families to be set up long after they're no longer playing in the game, right? You even think about roster and development opportunities, right? Roster expansions. They want a development league in the W, right? That's also a conversation that they're having in this new collective bargaining agreement, right? Scheduling and prioritization, right? There are some overseas commitments.
Also, like, they don't have a pension.
Yeah,
they don't have a pension as well. Natasha Cloud was talking about them fighting for a pension, and also, too, not to cut you off, they want to fight for their jersey sales. Yes. They don't get their jersey sales at all.
Most people don't know that. They don't get when Steph Curry sells out the number 30, Golden State Warrior jersey in the year, he gets a percentage of that merchandising. Well, the W players don't. They don't. If I wonder if people have ever actually gone to a W game. And that's part of some of the key improvements of the new CBA that they're fighting for. And so that's also what Angel has to take into consideration, is that it's bigger than maybe you won't be able to earn $1 million a year this time around on the new CBA, right? But maybe you'll be able to get an increased percentage in the merchandising, so you can make up.
It's going to raise somewhere else. It might not be exactly where you want it to be, but your salary is still going to go up.
It's similar to when the NFL pays salaries, where they'll give you bonus money up front,
right,
and then structure the rest of the contract out on the back end, okay, so that we can make it work. You can still get to your number. Maybe they'll give off, if they're not able to give up, because right now there's a 90. The split is 90-10.
What do you mean?
So of that 42% that the owners own of the W,
right, it's
a 90-10 split of that, whatever that pie comes out to be. So whatever that top number is, right, 42% of that goes to the W owners. It's a 90-10 split between the owners and the players. So they want to change that to be 50-50, but it's going to be hard to do that because there's only a minimum amount of revenue that's coming in from that category. So my point is, and I don't want to get people to so lost in these numbers. Bottom line is, there's no person that wants this for the women more than the women. Is second up is me, and and I
can I be there with you or no?
No, I got to be by myself on this.
Okay,
one.
That's fine. I'll be there. That's fine.
I'm joking. We there together, right? And so I think we just need to figure out how else can we get y'all a piece of the pie,
right?
And then you got leagues like Unrivaled, Athletes Unlimited that come in. The average salary for Unrivaled is around
like 224.
Yeah, $225,000, right?
Yeah.
So you add that on top of your W salary. So I think there's a way for women to make $1 million a year. I think that's going to be a reality,
which is good.
Yes.
Which is very, very good for them.
Absolutely. We have is it Jewel Lloyd is the current highest, or is it Jackie Young?
Jewel Lloyd.
Yeah, Jackie Young though is the highest paid W player right now. It's like $550,000,
What
something
team
like
is she
that.
on? Jackie Young?
Jackie Young. I want to say she plays for the Aces.
Okay.
I think she plays for the Aces.
She's with Asia Wilson?
I want to say she's with the Aces. I could
Yeah,
be
fact
wrong.
check that.
No, I'm fact checking it
They
right
fry
now.
you up.
Yeah, they will.
I mean, they already frying me up because I'm asking you, but they're gonna deep fry
I'm
you.
right. I'm good. I watched the sport. She played for the Aces. Yeah.
I didn't say you didn't watch the sport.
Okay.
I just said it's gonna deep fry you.
I'm not.
All right, because like you said in the beginning, yep, for the ladies.
All right, relax. So yeah, I mean, I think we just need to really just manage these expectations and really understand the makeup of all of this, because I would love for y'all to get a little bit more in the merchandising. I would love for there to be a retirement plan for y'all, right? A pension, right? There's a lot of other factors. It's not just give me my $1 million a year. It's like, relax. You're going to get paid more than what you're getting paid now, regardless. But I don't know that we need to go crazy, because then if you go for that, if you go after all of that money, right? If the ladies want to go after all of the money, then they're going to ignore the pension plan. They're going to ignore the enhanced, maternal leaves. They're going to ignore the merchandising increase in revenue. So there's a lot of other factors that the W might throw out, because you're also fascinated on making X amount of dollars per year, that there's more to negotiate here. Like this, that's just not get lost in the annual salary. Like, let's focus on the total picture. And that's why
total package.
And Andrew said she needs to be at those meetings. In her defense, she didn't act like she knew all of what was.
No, you could tell there's a few things that she didn't know.
Correct.
It's not that she just didn't want to make more money, but
yeah,
it's a process.
and they do deserve what they deserve.
No, 100%.
But it's only one season.
Yeah.
Right? It was only one season that happened. But again, this new CBA could be locked in for 10 years. So they could.
It's important that they cover as much ground as possible.
Right. Because now, in 10 years, Angel, she's going to be a veteran, probably in her last years in the W at that point. Right. So it's like, I want to get all mine right now.
Yeah. This is good, too, because one of the people that come to mind, though he didn't play in the NBA, with Tony Snell. Right? On the back end, he didn't play, I believe it had to be 10 years. I think he played 9.
Yep.
And he couldn't,
it was like 9 and some months.
9 and some change. He was just short.
Yep.
So not at all for the viewers trying to make this about men. It's just the principle of making sure that the ladies understand and they get the best deal package within what they need, so that if a woman, let's just say for the women, since they don't make as much money, maybe they have to play less amount of years so that they get everything that they need, whether it be a pension now, hopefully, whether it be health care for their families. They need these things. Since you're paying us less, that could be in the deal. We make less than the NBA. Let's make sure that we have these things bundled. The pension, the benefits, the jersey sale. I need my jersey sales.
You can't be selling my bobblehead in the jersey. Most people don't know this.
Can I get 5 cash off that? Like, some
stadiums don't even sell the jerseys in the team stores. It's
of the team.
Yep.
So they selling jerseys of the NBA team?
No, they got that covered in the back. They're selling WNBA hoodies. They're selling keychains and different paraphernalia like that. They're not even selling the team, the actual players' jerseys in the team store. I've been out at several W arenas. And
their jersey's just not in there.
No, you got to order online.
They got that Caitlin Clark jersey in there.
Oh, the Fever going to have that in there. And I don't know that to be true, because I haven't been to the Fever arena. Well, they play at, Phil Banker's house.
And it's no shot to Caitlin. Her jersey deserves to be there. I'm just saying, like,
I'm sure she had the #1 jersey.
If a player's generating revenue, especially in ticket sales,
she's box office.
Their jersey should be in there. Not saying Caitlin Clark.
People are pulling up to see her play.
1,000%.
They're not, and they're going to be really good this year. By the way, the Fever, very good. They got the Wanda Bonner. They got a veteran that they signed. They also traded for what's my girl?
Bonner. She played on the Connecticut Sun.
She played on the Connecticut Sun.
That's Alyssa Thomas, shorty.
That is her lady. That is her lady.
Shout out to them. Fire.
Yeah.
I know y'all was looking at me like when he said the name, I didn't know who she was, but just had to register. I was going through the Scrolodex.
But yeah, listen.
It's important that this gets done.
Very important. Very, very, very important.
Anything else you want to say on them?
Nah, that's about.
You sure? I'm not rushing you. I'm just trying to keep us precise.
No, that's about it.